Hello, this is Bill Zahler from the Wellness Warriors Ministry, and our presentation today is going to be about juicing and blending foods as a regular part of our diet, and we'll be discussing some of the pros and cons about whether we want to do this or not, and what some of the advantages and perhaps disadvantages are. One thing is clear, and that is that in our country presently, there is a tremendous move toward juicing fruits and vegetables and blending several fruits and vegetables together and consuming those. There is huge money behind this trend, and there must be 100 different types of juicing machines and blenders and so on. There is very sophisticated marketing involved here, and I would add as a main point that some of the advertising is a bit biased. Let's say it's somewhat biased, and so whenever we engage in a trend that is marketed aggressively, we need to really scrutinize what is happening and be sure that we're doing what is best for us in our daily life, in this case, in our daily eating. So one of the other main points that I want to make today is that juicing and blending is not a primary issue in our food consumption and in our diets. It is a secondary issue. There are many, many things that are worse for you than juicing or blending. However, there is some information that I think we need to know about this so we can make educated decisions. The primary issue in food consumption is that we consume a diet that has high variety plant foods, high variety of plant foods in their whole form, not juiced and not blended, and that we use minimal oil, minimal extracted oils in our daily eating. This eating regimen should include whole grains, beans and other legumes, mushrooms, cooked mushrooms, onions and garlic, fruit, vegetables of all sorts and colors, nuts and seeds, and so on. This is the ideal diet for increasing our longevity so we can live longer. This is the ideal diet for tissue repair and DNA repair, for disease prevention, and for having high levels of energy and vitality. Let's look at juicing in a little bit more detail. Harvard researchers have found that eating whole fruits, for example, eating an apple, like apples or like blueberries or grapes or whatever, was significantly related to a lower risk for type 2 diabetes, whereas drinking the fruit juice was associated with a higher risk of contracting type 2 diabetes. There was a dramatic difference between eating whole fruits and just drinking the juice. So be careful of juices. They are high in simple sugars and calories. The quality of a food is not improved by beating it 1,000 times with a steel blade. This is also true with blending vegetables or fruits. When we juice fruits and vegetables, we lose a good deal of the fiber. And here's another very important point that we want to know about. We lose a lot of the fiber, and we lose all of the nutrients that are bound to the fiber. For example, most polyphenol phytonutrients, plant nutrients in plants, called non-extractable polyphenols, are locked to the fiber that we lose when we juice these foods. These polyphenols help protect the body systems from many different types of disease. They affect cell-to-cell signaling. They affect receptor sensitivity. They affect inflammatory enzymes. and gene regulation. We find polyphenols in foods with rich colors that are red and purple and black, for example, prunes or purple potatoes, or red foods like red bell pepper and tomatoes and so on and so forth. So all of those foods are rich sources of polyphenols that we may lose when we juice these foods. Now, it's possible that blending is preferable to juicing. However, one of our world's foremost food nutritional biochemists, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, says to avoid blending foods. He said your body may react with a sharper and faster spike in blood sugar when you consume blended drinks. Taking the same energy as a liquid instead of a solid, you will consume more calories later because the liquefied energy doesn't satisfy your appetite as well as the solid food. This was published in 2007 in the International Journal of Obesity. You may be changing the rate and effect of nutrient digestion in important ways. People who consume green smoothies usually add fruit to these mixtures in order to improve the taste, because the taste a lot of times of just green foods is a bit undesirable sometimes. And so adding fruit to that mixture adds calories. We are particularly concerned about the hidden harms of regular smoothie consumption on people who are trying to lose weight, who have diabetes, or who have high triglycerides. Most people are in a battle to stop over-consuming calories, and it really is for this audience that blended drinks may pose some hidden risks. So, important digestive activities begin in the mouth with chewing. Absorption and digestion may be different based on the form of food that you eat. For example, juicing is different than a smoothie, is different than a whole food. And it affects our satiation, that is how satisfied we are with our eating, that is the form of food does. Many people are trying to get healthy by replacing meals with green smoothies. Now, I did want to share with you, if you happen to be an athlete, I want to share with you a blended drink that I use myself when I need an extra boost because I'm exercising pretty rigorously. And so what I would do is I would put in a blender some mixed berries. Berries are just superfoods and wonderful for you. I would add some red grape juice. Keep in mind, red grape juice is the highest calorie juice there is, but I tend to need to be able to keep my weight up, so I put red grape juice in there. I put a whole kiwi in there, some hemp protein powder, a great plant-based protein powder, some maca powder, which is an adaptogen, and some raw sunflower seeds. And I use that sometimes before I run and sometimes after and sometimes both. If I were to juice some foods, I would only do this, now this is just me, I would only do this as a tonic when I feel a little bit out of sorts, when I feel that I may be trying to contract a virus or something like that. I would blend some kale and celery and cucumber and apple. Actually, I would juice those. And maybe put a little bit of apple cider with that to thin it out and drink that, and that would be a highly nutritious tonic. But our recommendations are this. Eat primarily a whole food, plant-based way of eating. Minimize juicing and blending. Juicing may be okay as a tonic, like I said, and use your mouth and your teeth the way nature intended, and put the smoothies aside or have them just as a treat. I wanted to mention that Dr. John McDougall, one of our country's foremost alternative medicine physicians, says that we should chew our food and do not drink your calories. He said smoothies are not a weight loss technique. Eat your kale and do not drink it. Food is intended to be in its whole form. I want to thank you for being with us today in this important presentation about juicing and blending. We invite you to stay in touch with Wellness Warriors. Our website is mywellnesswarriors.com. On Facebook, the name is William Zahler, Z-A-H-L-E-R, and our email address is wazahler, Z-A-H-L-E-R, @gmail.com.